Well. Technology.
Technology hates
Go
us.
figure. So anyway, we're typically I don't do our live streams over Wi-Fi. We do them over a cellular connection because it's safer. The Wi-Fi connection here at the house isn't so great. So we can look stuff up, we can follow along on the internet, but overall the signal kind of stinks.
Yeah.
So I apologize for that. And we are back, and we are talking about storage organization and all that entails.
Yeah.
So sorry for the interruption. For all of you that are trying to find us, it's seek and find Goin Batty.
Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, sorry for that, and I'm glad everybody made it back over from once hence we came this, thou, and the other.
Okay. But
yeah.
So I was kind of talking about the kitchen organization and making the kitchen function for me, because I am someone who cooks a lot. And I was talking about, like, in the pantry, like, we don't have cereal in boxes or bags. We have them in those containers where you flip the little lid off and you can pour. We don't have, like, granola bars and stuff like that in their box because my kids will leave the empty box in there and I'll not know that it's empty. We have, like, we're going to have containers that you just put it in there. The other thing that, and this is something that Do It on a Dime that she did, in her kitchen, she had some deeper drawers, and she took pegboard that you can get from the hardware store for like $7, and she would double it up, and then she would take little dowels and she'd stick it in the pegs and then put her, like, bowls and stuff in there, and those pegs kept them from sliding around everywhere. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's brilliant. Because, you know, like, when you put lids and bowls and stuff like that in a drawer, they get all mixed up and you can't find them because they've all slid around everywhere. And it's just like, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so smart. So I'm thinking about setting up our kitchen that way, and just to kind of see, because that kitchen only has 3 drawers in it. The silverware drawer, one for towels, and then one that I used to keep the cookbooks in, but I have a corner cabinet that I'm going to paint with chalk paint and refinish. And then I have a pie safe, an Amish built pie safe that we got when we lived in Maryland. And so those are going to be on the other wall. So I have a little bit more storage than what I had before. So, but it's an eat-in kitchen, so the table will be in there, and it's a tighter space, but it's nice because it has a big bay window in it. So the lighting is really good in there. You know, I like a lot of natural light. And so I'm just kind of trying to think through, okay, how are we going to get things put away where they need to be? And, you know, and one of the things too is like, you know, my thing is if I haven't seen it in 6 months, I don't really need it. Because if I haven't used it, I mean, that's different when it comes to, like, your clothes and stuff like that. But if it's something else, like, you know, if I'm thinking, well, will I use this, or I might, or I think, you know, I probably need to get rid of it because I'm probably not going to get to it. I've got so much other stuff going on in my life that's just going to be something that kind of sits back there and does nothing except, you know, collect dust and get it in my way, and then make me angry because it gets in my way. And then I fuss at people and it's my own fault. And they're like, well, you did that, Mom. I'm like, oh. But so that's
my job in this whole moving thing is to get everything out of the storage bin and into the house so Heather can organize it. And so one of the things that we're facing, which we've faced before, is that it's pretty much just us moving. There's not a whole lot of help. We got to do it during a weekday when most people are at work.
Yeah.
And it's going to be just us and the 4 kids. And, you know, I think the last time we did this, the 4 kids could help with the smaller boxes, but there wasn't a whole lot of being able to lift heavy couches. Well, now they're going to lift all that stuff. I got almost teenagers now. They're going to lift up all that stuff, and we're going to let them. But we're gonna rent a U-Haul, and we're going to get everything out of the storage bin into the house. Then we're going to come here, get all the big stuff that's here we need to get. The tractor, the washer and dryers, the refrigerator, whatever else is huge, and any little stuff that we can grab and get it back up to the house, the new house as well. We'll get all this stuff piled in somewhere, and then we'll take the next 2 weeks to 3 months figuring out where everything goes.
See, that's what bothers me, is it piled somewhere, because I keep looking at it, and especially if it's a giant pile. It does. It taunts me, and it's like, because I get overwhelmed. I like, there becomes a point where it's like I don't even know where. Like, I'll start opening boxes, and I'll be like, oh, I don't even know where to start with this. Like, where if it was like a box at a time, I'd be better. That's why I'm horrible at packing, too. Because it's like, there's so much stuff. I just don't know. And, like, I mean, though, like, I stink at packing. Kevin's way of packing is, okay, let's take this drawer and we'll just dump it in a box. I'm like, we'll label it, whatever. So,
well, here's you know, this is where I submit to my wife, and we do what she needs to do, because I want this to be her home. But with one exception, we have a 24-hour period of time we have this van. Yeah. And that doesn't mean we get to pick and choose what in that moment what we're going to do.
I know. And see,
we have to get it moved, and then we can think
and that's where I need him to go, okay, Heather, we got, because I'll get to a point where I'd be like, I can't do any more of this, and he kind of has to push me forward a little bit, because I'm like, but I can't, because there's stuff here and I've got to get it put away, but
that's not the time to do it.
Yeah, and he has to help me.
When we're unloading the truck, just get us in the room.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that, and this is strategery, and we've got to think it through.
Is that a word, strategery?
President Bush said it.
Well, okay.
I'm not sure. To say it.
Okay, whatever.
Anyway, this is a strategic thought that I have. Okay, one of us has got to be at the van to tell the kids what to take in. The other one has to be in the house telling the people bringing the stuff in where it goes. I don't want to be in the house because she knows where she wants everything.
Yeah.
We have 2 sets of living room furniture, and we have all of these kitchen boxes. It's better if she's in the house, I'm at the truck, and the Goin Batty kids are carrying things back and forth. Well, forth, not back. Never back. And we're just getting it put away. And so I feel like the strategy is we stay in our spots, and if Heather wants something in particular, she'll say slow down, she'll send a message through one of the kids that we need to do that. And we'll
or the kids will go back to Dad and go, okay, Mom's stuck with this box and she's telling us not to bring any more in because she doesn't know where to put it. And then Dad will have to come in and go, honey, just let them put the box down, because I'll be like,
put the box down. It's got dishes in it, put it in the kitchen.
Yeah.
It does not go in the bathroom.
I don't know why that's so hard. And here's what's funny. Like, most normal women are multitaskers. And I really am not. Like, I'm one that I've got this job on my mind and I want to get it done, and then I can move on to the next thing. Because if I don't get done, it's that computer window that's up and I can't close it out. So, like, I've been thinking about the move, and our garden has just kind of, like, the weeds were like, yay, she's not thinking about us. So we had to go out and weed today, and boy, did we weed. We weeded a lot of stuff.
There'll be a video coming out. I've got a few of the video clips, a little bit of vlogging going on that you'll get to see tomorrow. We're going to do some more. So I'm not going to put it out yet. But she's right. I think that's what makes us a great team, is that we can both temper each other when we get it.
Sorry.
I'll get better.
No,
I'm not that boring.
Hey, Kate, can you give me a glass of water? My throat is really dry.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying that, we balance each other off well, because when it is time to hustle, when we need to stay focused, we can play off each other and get the job done, and it's wonderful. Now, it took us 15 years to get there and 4 moves.
Yes.
And that was not easy, and there were fights in between.
Our first move probably was the least pretty of them all.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, this is wisdom that's been passed down from the elders in our family. And the wisdom is this: when you get into situations with your spouse where you are at odds, she's like, no, I want to unpack every box individually as we go. And I'm like, no, we got to get this stuff in there. We got to get this stuff. When you guys are like that, pause, laugh a little, and realize that this is just a moment and it will pass. And if there is a disagreement, and here's where the wisdom comes, my mother-in-law, who is just the most godly woman, she looked at us and she said, you two need to learn how to fight fair. And that will stay with me for the rest of my life. I swear it will. And I shouldn't swear, but I'm telling you, it will. Because what we do in those moments of stress, and you can put us to the test, because we're getting ready to go through some big stress, is how will we treat each other when we get stressed out and freaked out? Will we come at each other with words of anger and frustration, or will we hug each other and then laugh and then go hug our kids? Because that's the definition of a marriage that's growing healthy. Mm-hmm. And as much as we need to plan, and I'm preaching a little here, I'm sorry. As much as we need to plan what box goes where, and I don't disagree with that, we also need to plan for what do we do when we get frustrated and stressed out. Because when we get into that situation, we can look at each other and go, oh, there it is. Mm-hmm. Remember what we said we would do in this situation. And I'm not sure it's 100% going to work, but this is what it is. You know what I mean? This is kind of the plan. So choose the quickest and easiest way for the most efficient, enduring peace. Paraphrased Dr. Dobson. Very good. Very good. So yeah. Anyway, I interrupted you. Keep going. No, you were talking about some stuff.
I'm just, this is where my brain has been for the past, 2 weeks, because it's kind of coming, and I have to think, okay, because I have my process, okay, everything out of the storage unit, because we don't want to pay for the storage unit anymore. Everything out of this house after that, because we have a little more grace here, but we want to get everything out. We don't want to leave anything here. Just trying to figure out, like I said, we opened that storage unit last week, and Kevin was like, yay, we're almost there. And I'm like, oh my gosh, where are we going to put all this? And because the house that we came from was probably, 600 square feet bigger than the one that we're going to now. And so, I mean, we just, and I have a feeling like some stuff's going to go to the curb. Some of it's going to be garage sale, which, my husband's pretty good at garage sales. Well, it's funny. He's good at setting them up, but we find, and I don't know if this is anybody else, but I sell stuff to people. And all I have to do is sit out there. It's not like I'm like, hey, come buy our stuff. I'm just sitting there watching the kids usually. And then people will come and buy things when I'm there. But when Kevin's sitting out there, no one comes and buys our stuff when he's sitting there. It's just kind of weird.
Yep.
That
it's not weird. You're the pretty one. They like you. It's me they're scared of. Well, I don't like the guy with the hairy face and the big loud voice. No, we've had some good garage sales though.
Yeah.
We have. I don't think we're going to have any trouble getting stuff figured out in our house. I think we're going to have trouble getting it down certain steps and getting it up certain steps, because this house was built in the Lord knows when.
1948 is when this house was built.
And so it's got doorways from 1948.
They're narrower, and the pitch of the steps is more steep. When we lived there before, we had the bedroom upstairs, and we found out that we could not get a queen size box spring up those steps. We actually had to cut our box spring in half and take it up the steps, and then screw it back to. I was mad. I was so mad. But what had happened?
I learned a lesson there, fellas.
Is that we got the box spring stuck. We couldn't get it back down. We got it kind of halfway, and it was wedged between the door frame and the steps, and we couldn't pull it out, so we had to cut it. And
in the middle of that, you have to laugh, and you have to go, well, let's just leave it here. I kind of like it here. Yeah, let's just sleep on the steps.
So that's why we're taking one of the rooms downstairs.
Let me go to the live stream here real quick. There's a couple of things. Noah's Ark says Kevin the teddy bear. And Coco Noel says, it's your man catcher cookies, Heather. And then Noah's Ark said...
Yeah, but I don't bring my man catcher cookies out for garage sales. I've already got one. I don't need any more mints.
Noah's Ark says, not scary. And then, holy cow. Trucking Up says, Kevin, don't feel bad. People tell me I don't look like a friendly person, so I know the struggle. It is a struggle. Wish I could see video of that. Well... we're going to do some video and while we're moving, so we'll see how it goes. But here's one from Books Are People Too. Check out Ronnie Eisenberg's book, Organize Yourself, for a good checklist to organize every area of your life.
I'm writing that down.
Okay, so on my end of things, I would rather not have... Well, there are some things I have to have organized. Because if I don't have things in a particular place, I will forget where I put them, and I will blame the children for moving it. So it's very important that I keep things where I can find them. And we had a not so humorous moment the other day, and I just learned my lesson that I've got to keep things where I know they are. And
he has to have his keys on the fish. We have a fish that has hooks on it, and that's where we hang our keys. And he has to put his keys there. His change jar has to be on his dresser. His wallet needs to be by his change jar, because if it's not, then he forgets where it is, and then we're looking all over the place for it. And
I'm a disaster.
So he's like rather not pleasant to be around, because he's like, I can't find anything.
Oh, it just drives me crazy. Kevin, wait till they move. OIT really bites. I'm not sure what that means. OIT.
Wait till they move it. It's probably a typo.
Well, yeah. I know. It does bite. I know. It's routine. It's total routine. You're right. Big screen, you're totally right. I have a routine when I come in the house that releases me from work. It releases me from thinking about work. And I put my keys away. I put my wallet on the dresser. I take off my shoes, take off my pants, I put other pants on, and I just defunk. And when you go through a move like this, it really is it's an upheaval of your everyday routine. Yeah. It's a complete upheaval.
Amy T, I'm sorry, has some good advice. She's talking about, says, get some tubs and set up and ready for sorting. Once you start unpacking boxes, sell, donate trash, give to someone else, etc.
Oh yeah,
that's really smart, because that's what we're gonna do. We'll have all those set out and do it that way, and so that way as I'm going through, because I know like once I hit Katie's clothes, none of them are gonna fit her. I mean, she's grown since we moved here. She's probably grown 6 inches. All her pants are gonna be this too short. So.
However, you get all your cooking stuff back.
I get all my cooking stuff back, yep.
All of it.
But then even that I have to go through and go, okay, what is actually a necessity? What is
the
it
coffee
that I
mugs.
Need? No. Okay.
We are not throwing away any of my coffee mugs.
Biggest pet peeves. Like, he keeps bringing home coffee mugs, and I'm like, but you only drink coffee out of this one mug. You drink it out of the one mug, but you keep bringing all these coffee mugs home.
Here's the deal.
I'm like, we don't need this many coffee mugs.
I like coffee. And sometimes I like to have my choice of what coffee mug I drink it out of. And so I have a tendency...
You only ever drink it out of one coffee mug.
Well, at least I have some options. And I don't have 50 mugs. It's not ridiculous. It's like 10. If 10. And my favorite one got broken. And we won't blame anybody.
Fault.
No, I just, everybody has their thing. Matchbox cars. Love Matchbox cars. Legos. I love Legos. I think they were brilliant. And if I could just sit at home and do that all day, we'd be even poorer.
Until we step on him, and then he doesn't love them so much.
Yeah, and once they're together, they need to stay together.
Which is not true, because any little boy in the world, I mean, it's like taken apart, put them together, build something else, taken apart. And I love that about Legos. I hate stepping on them, but...
So Coco Noel says, Kevin, my hubs can relate. He misses his former landing spot for all his stuff. Books Are People 2 says, send all nooks to me, please.
It should be books.
Books to me, please.
Yeah.
Does the same Kevin, it's part of coming home. My hubby does the same Kevin, it's part of coming home. Yeah. Oh, she is calling you out. Sell the books to me, please. No problem. Right. We won't have many books, but we'll do a few.
The books that we have are ones that we're very attached to. And, like, there's not very many books that we have that... we usually don't give books away because the ones that we have are ones that are... They're either for school or they're for...
yes, Coco Noel.
For... they're either for school or they're for like gardening and homesteading, cookbooks. You know, those are things that we tend to hold on to. So yeah, I feel the same with you about books. Like I love books. We just keep them. Yeah, and Bibles too. Yeah.
Let me go back to the live feed. Coco Noel says, Kevin, build a Hoosier cabinet out of Legos for your bride.
Oh, that would be awesome.
And then James Humerick says, will you keep your same P.O. box? I'll tell you right now, I'm not convinced that we need a P.O. box because we don't get any mail from the folks in YouTube for the most part.
No, that's not true.
We get some, but we don't get enough to pay the bill for it. And so we for the time being will have one, but as you can tell, we probably need to talk about it more. But right now, we're just not getting a whole lot of mail from the Goin Batty business. We'll probably have one because we don't want to put our personal address out there.
Yeah, I would prefer to keep it just because our kids are small and, you know.
It has a cost attached to it that I'm not sure we're breaking even on.
You guys are okay, but every once in a while we get weirdos and we don't want them.
Let me tell you, we have gotten some letters that, a letter.
Yeah.
And it's, anyway. But yeah, I guess we will be keeping the same P.O. box for a while. Kevin has coffee mugs and Heather yarn.
This is true.
LOL. Yes.
This is true. I do have yarn.
Yep. Bibles. Yep. Can we build it? Yes. How many Bibles? Question mark. I struggle to part with books. Amy T. Books Are People too. I was just kidding. I have lost count of how many Bibles and cookbooks I have. For you, it's cookbooks.
Well,
I see.
Because it's like, I mean, okay, here's the thing. I have a Bible that I've had since I was a teenager. And the thing is falling apart, but I don't want to get rid of it because it has sentimental value. But then again, it's like I feel like there's something like inherently bad about getting rid of a Bible. You know what I'm saying? And so like I'm not one that like collects them. Like if I have like I said, the one that I had when I was a teenager, like it's just I use it so much it's falling apart. And so I have a new one. And then I actually have a new one because Kevin gave me one to kind of do Bible with the kids.
Like and it's printed backwards.
Yeah, it's funny because the cover is on upside down and backwards. Thing. So,
Katie, will you find a
I don't know where it is. I don't know what to do with
Bible.
it. But
it must be in a room. Maybe.
So
it's right here. It's right here.
But yes.
Can I just say one thing?
Yeah.
I've been working in a church for 16 years, and they always wear out. Bibles wear out, and for a season I was one of those guys that'd be like, oh, just throw it away, or get it out of here. Give it to Goodwill, right?
Well, Goodwill I'm okay with. Throwing away with I'm not okay with.
But here's the thing. I met a missionary about 10 years ago. And he had a story that changed my thinking on all of that. So before you start putting all the thumbs down on Kevin because of what I just said about throwing Bibles away, he changed my perspective. I was 5 years into my ministry, and I told him that I didn't know what to do with these Bibles when they go bad. And he said, well, in my country, it is illegal to own a Bible. And so I have a story for you. And I'm like, okay, I'm all ears. He goes, well, when I was in jail, they would smuggle a page of the Bible in one page at a time. One page at a time. And they would shove it in their shoe, they'd put it in their pants, they'd hide it in other various locations. And basically they would sit at night around each other in a circle, or back to back to each other in the cells, and they would read that page of the Bible to each other. Now, folks, I was floored. He goes, give me your old Bibles, and they will make it to that prison and into that community where they're not allowed to have one. It totally changes how I deal with the Word of God when it's worn out. And so I know the guy's name, I know the guy's number, and that's where, when I have old Bibles, that's where they go. And I haven't talked to him in probably 2 or 3 years, and so that's where it is. So, anyway, Who Knows says, I have found a unique Bible, one side of the page is Hebrew, the other side is King James Version. Yes, that's a parallel Bible, I believe. I have one that has the Message on one side and the NLT on the other, or the NLT and the NIV. But yeah, it's a parallel Bible. Who Knows? Nona Grace says, who knows? I am so also crocheting bags, so darn addictive.
Yeah, you can crochet plastic bags and make like mats and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
So reuse them.
Books are people too. We were just discussing that we wish we could buy the row house next door to rehab into a library extension to our house.
Nice.
Who knows? Yes, the Word of God is very precious. Yeah. If I do locate that fellow's contact information, I will share it. But I have to be careful about how I share it, because that kind of stuff cannot go out on the internet. It just can't.
Yeah, he can get in trouble. And
that guy can he can get in a lot of trouble. So we were very tight-lipped about that. But Nona, I'm sorry, Who Knows says, Nona, I made a grocery bag to take to use. Oh, you already said that. Yeah. Sorry. Crocheted plastic bags. I don't understand. I don't either.
They take. If I understand what's going on here, I've seen people take plastic bags, like your bread bags, your old grocery bags, and they've crocheted them like into mats.
Oh, this one's normal.
And that's the normal one. That's not the backward one.
Katie, find the backward
they've crocheted them like into like rugs in front of your sink and stuff like that. So that may be what they're talking about. So yeah.
Yeah.
But
so yeah, oh, that's kind of cool. That's kind of unique.
Yeah. Unique. So.
Yeah. So anyway, back to the move and back to why we're doing what we're doing. I'm glad that Heather's thinking this stuff through. It will be a stressful few days where we try to figure out, get everything in and when can we move and how can we move. But we'll try to do our best to bring you guys along with us.
I think we should show them, like, after we go through the walkthrough. Like, maybe do something live and show them what the inside of the house looks like before the furniture gets in and stuff like that.
We can give you an idea of what the yard looks like.
Yeah,
and, just kind of what the new homestead, before and after pictures, if you will.
Find it.
So, I don't know what we did with it, but it's probably in one of the boys' room. They probably
confiscated it.
So,
it's all right.
No big deal. That's the other one. Go ahead and put that one away.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, the biggest thing for us, I think, right now is we have to start packing things here. And we have done a very good job of integrating ourselves into Heather's mom's house. And it is time for us to begin that packing process without driving her completely nuts.
Yeah.
And so we haven't started it yet for that reason, because, well, we just don't have a lot of places to put things. And so the day of the move, we are going to start with the big things. Like here in a couple of days, maybe even tomorrow, we're going to switch out washer and dryers and put hers back in and take ours out and have them up and ready to move when it's time.
We put ours in because I have a high capacity washer and dryer. And my mom, who's just her, she just had a regular washer and dryer. And we were doing so much laundry that her washer couldn't keep up with it. So that's why we put our washer and dryer in.
Well, we didn't want to wear her washer and dryer out. We wanted to wear ours out while we were here.
Yeah.
And so it'll be a little bit of a shuffle to get everything out of there. We'll be taking our cat with us, Walter. We'll be taking...
Oh my gosh, she was so funny the other day. I gotta tell them this.
Sure.
Okay, so I go out and like he had an issue. He had these little bumps on his ears, and we read that it may be an allergic reaction to something. Mm-hmm. So we kept him inside, and We didn't let him go outside and stuff. And he doesn't wander like too far from the house or anything. Like
No,
he'll
he's
go
a
out to the
good cat.
barn or the the garden and stuff, and then come back into the garage. And but we've kept him in for like a week. And I went out there and I said hi to him. I petted him, and we have an understanding that I'm not necessarily a cat person, and he like was rubbing all up against me and everything, just kind of and then I turned to leave, and he like grabs my ankle. And he just grabs it and he won't let go. And I called Katie. I'm like, Katie, can you come out here and love this cat? Because he needs somebody to love him, because he doesn't want me to leave. Because I had something in my arms and I couldn't pet him anymore. But, it was just, I'm like, I could see it in his eyes, like, please don't leave me. So, like, oh, poor Walter.
Heather, may your efforts be fruitful. It can be overwhelming.
Yeah.
Coco Noel says. Yeah, that's it. So,
Okay.
gosh, there's so much that we think about and that we're not ready for, but that is the long and short of it.
Yeah. There's stuff that I'm gonna do, like with our Thrive food. I'm gonna be making meals in a jar, so that way, like when we're there at the house, we don't have to go out to eat. I can just, we'll have water. I'll have my pots and pans. I can just put something on the stove real quick, and then that way we can eat. And I can have them just sitting in mason jars on the counter, and we can just pick one and do it that way. It'll be really easy now that I know that my 9-year-old can cook really well. So yay!
Awesome.
But so we'll be doing stuff like that, and just kind of getting everything, like I said, straightened up, put away, put in the right place, and stuff like that. So
Hey, I don't know if you guys know this or not, and you may not be in it, but we have a Facebook page. We have the Goin Batty Thrive Life page, and we just wanted you guys to know about that. We'd love for you to come on over and like our page and visit it. We've got some information there about Thrive Life Foods. If you don't know, we are consultants for Thrive Life Food, and we are getting a little business started that isn't doing too shabby, actually. We've had a lot of momentum, and we're pretty excited about it. We don't want to make every single YouTube video that we make a commercial for it, but we do want to let you know it has impacted our life, and it is doing some very good things in our life. And we have some things that we'd love to tell you about. So if you'd like to know more about Thrive Life Foods, private message me, and I will send you out a sample to the first 3 people that contact me about possibly setting up an account, if you're interested.
Amy, yes, we can come in and clean the house first,
Yes.
which is good, because I want to do that. Because the gentleman that lives there right now, he's a bachelor, and he's an older gentleman, and it just, not to knock like single men or anything, but sometimes what
Is clean to a single guy
clean to a
or
single
to a
guy
guy
may
at
not
all.
be clean to a mother of 4.
Right.
So, but then again, sometimes after you've lived in it a while, what was it my grandma used to say? My house is clean enough to be healthy and dirty enough to be happy. So
Yep.
I'm like, because after a while we'll get to that point where it's like,
So Baker Mom just said she made your beef stroganoff for lunch yesterday, and the kids just loved it.
Good. I'm glad. That's
Absolutely.
awesome. I'm glad. I did put the recipe up, I think.
You did?
I? Yes,
No.
Yes. Okay. Yes, I did. Yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah,
And-
I did.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. We've done quite a few videos where Heather cooks, and you guys know she can cook, and so she's done some amazing dishes that have nothing to do with Thrive. And she's going to do some more.
Yeah.
There's more cooking.
There may be
all
less
kinds.
of them as we're getting ready to move, so
Well, yeah.
sorry about that.
There'll be more when
Sorry.
we get into the new house.
But when we get into the new house and we get settled and everything is where it needs to be, I'll be back in the routine of doing it. We made a decision that we cannot have Cookie Friday every single week. Because Jack looked at us and he was like, "We're not going to be going batty anymore. We're going to be going fatty." And I'm like, "Okay." So,
Yeah, that's
and
true.
I told him like maybe every other week is probably good with Cookie Friday, but again, that's going to kind of have to. I might do it, I might not before we move. It just depends on how busy we get.
Yeah.
So, but we're just going to kind of play that by ear, because setup and tear down of everything sometimes can be, especially when we've got boxes of stuff sitting around, might be a little hard. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, if you've seen Heather cook, you know she knows what she's talking about. She's an amazing cook, and she doesn't need any kind of shortcut to do it. She can make pretty much anything you want from scratch. So when you watch her cook with the Thrive Life food, pay attention, because that's real food. She's using that not because she doesn't know how to cook, but because she's an expert at what she does, and she does it very well. And so if you guys want to know how to incorporate that stuff into that was funny.
Cookie Friday followed by salad
Saturday. Let me tell you, every day needs to be salad Saturday for me. I just want to brag on my wife a little bit, because she has some expertise in that area. And if you want to get a little taste of what she does and some of her cooking abilities, check out our YouTube channel. But also, we have about 10 recipes for download on the Goin Batty store. It's not very much. It's about $8, and you can see all of the recipes that we love. Actually, those recipes and that were handpicked by Katie and some of Katie's favorite.
They are all the ones that our kids love. Those are our kids' favorite recipes. Right. So she picked all of those out with the help of the boys and their input and stuff like that. So, and
there'll be more on the way. It's just we've never done anything like that before. Yeah. So
I've actually had a couple people ask, are you going to do a cookbook? And I'm like, I don't think I have enough recipes to do a cookbook. So that's why we decided to just do like these 10. Mm-hmm. But something small, because that's a lot of work, like writing out all those recipes and typing them in and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So, but and right now with moving, like I don't want to do that.
No. Well, it's all in due time, right? And so we will have an opportunity to share more with you. I like that idea, recipe calendar. That's a good idea. Phil's here.
Hey,
I was
Phil.
thinking about just showing up at mealtime. LOL. Well, Phil, if you show up at our door, you're going to be welcome, and we'll feed you good. So no worries.
Yeah, but my cooking I learned from my mom and my grandma, and they are. My grandmother's a Southern woman. Her family is all from Tennessee, so. There's not like any trained chefs in our family. It's just cooking the way I learned, that has kind of been passed down,
Amy
for years. And so
Amy T on the live stream says, I like how Heather, you explain things simple so people can follow and get the same success. Thanks. That's in big letters.
Oh, good. Well, I mean, I try to explain it how, when I'm thinking like, okay, I'm walking through this process. And if I needed it explained to me, how would I want it explained? That's kind of how I do that, and a lot of times when I'm in the kitchen and I'm not filming, I will actually talk to myself and go, okay, now you need to do this next, and you need to do this. So actually, you're just you get to see what is a day in the life of Heather sometimes.
She finally has someone to talk to.
Yeah, it's like, now I feel like I'm not talking to myself anymore, and I'm not crazy. So.
Norma says that's the best way to cook: a pinch of this and a handful of that.
Well, it was funny because when we were doing our tomato sauce tonight, Miles was like, well, how much sugar do I put in the tomato sauce to take the edge off of it? And I said, so just grab a handful of it. He goes, well, my hand's smaller than your hand. And I said, well, I know, just grab a handful. And he did, and it probably was about maybe like a tablespoon, maybe a tablespoon and a half in this big pot that we did. And he threw it in there, and I'm like, that's how much you need. He goes, that's a horrible way to cook. He goes, I don't know how much that is. And I'm like, it's a handful. So,
it's a learning curve is what it is.
But he did a great job. I mean, like, I was really impressed that my 9-year-old son made dinner tonight. He asked, he's like, can I make dinner? And I'm like, sure, what do you want to make? And he goes, well, why don't I make ravioli and I'll make tomato sauce? And I was like, okay.
It's a good place to start.
And I just, and it's good because it's simple. I mean, it doesn't, there's not a lot of ingredients, and steps and stuff like that. And so my fear is that he's got, the attention span of a gnat sometimes. So he'll get doing something. Well, he gets it honest, because I'll do that. Like, I'll be doing something, be like, oh yeah, I need to do this, and walk away and then totally forget I was doing something else. But but he did a great job. So I was really impressed with him. It was fantastic.
Amy T says, "Oh, we'll be your cooking friends."
Yay! I have cooking friends. I'm no longer
friends.
the crazy lady in the kitchen that talks to herself.
hey, something shiny, big screen. That's pretty funny. Is he talking to me?
No, he's talking about
Look,
when I was talking about Miles will like walk out, and I'm like, but I do the same thing. I'll be like, oh, I need to do this, and oh yeah, I need to do that, and then nothing ever gets done because I'm like thinking of all the things that I need to do. That's why I set a timer. A lot of times, like I'll set like a 10 or 15 minute timer, and I'll just work in one place, and then when that's done, I actually learned that from a friend of ours that she struggled with focusing, and so she was like, that's just what I do. I'll set a timer for 15 minutes. I'll only work in the kitchen, and when that's done, even if my job is not done in there, I'll move on to something else. And then I'll work 15 minutes there, and she goes, and if I have to, I'll come back to it, but I'll work in 15-minute bursts. And I have found with my boys with school that actually works well. 15-minute bursts on things, and then we get up, we do something else for a little bit, and then we move on to something else. So it works really good.
We've had a lot of questions about homeschooling, and we've had a lot of questions about, what's it like homeschooling 4 kids, and feel free to ask us any questions about that on this freestyle as well, because there's a lot of planning behind the scenes going on for when homeschool is going to start, what it's going to look like when it starts. That kind of stuff. So by all means, take a look and see.
Our school year, as I've said before, is starting a little bit later. It's going to start after the move, which means we'll go further into the summer. And I've been thinking about going to year-round, where not so much in the summer where we do every day, but we might do Tuesdays and Thursdays instead of, Monday through Thursday. Because we take off Friday because that's his day off. And sometimes we'll make up for it, like doing a little school on Saturday and stuff like that. But for the most part, we can get most of it done. And if we go to a year-round school, then that only doing 4 days a week of school is not going to make that much of a difference because we'll just keep going. So
Angie says, I love to watch your meals in a jar videos.
I can do that. I can do some. It's good for you guys to say stuff like that because there are times where I'm like, I don't know what to do now. So I'll write that down, the meals in a jar.
There's a great YouTube channel called How to ADHD. And even if you don't have ADHD, Jess has some great tips and strategies for getting things done and keeping on task. That's great. That sounds awesome. These are great resources, you guys. Thanks for sharing them. I just wrote that one down for you. That's wonderful. Yeah. Because I love it. Hey, Bird.
Yeah. So.
Hey, Hoffman Family Homestead. How are you?
I just want to tell you guys out there that if you are looking for some really fantastic soap that smells awesome, Mindy at Hoffman Family Homestead, we bought some of her soap, and her cherry soap that we've been using, oh my gosh, it smells so good. It smells like a cherry Jolly Rancher. And like my kids are like, this is the best soap ever. So I can't wait till this bar is used up, which will be real soon. And then we're going to move on to the blueberry one that she sent us. And like, oh, I love them. They're awesome.
They are good.
Yeah.
They're very good. Is that them? Is that their website right here?
Yes, Hoffman Family Homestead.
Is that it?
Yep,
okay,
that's
cool.
it. We've got their little, we'll post a little thing in there.
We'll post a link so you guys can see it.
So as we're getting ready to move, I've gotten my stuff to the city of Dayton schools, so they know that I am intending to homeschool, and I've sent them my curriculum outline and all that kind of stuff. And now I'm going to have to start going through and putting my day together. And Kevin suggested, he goes, well, why don't you just have the kids do it on the computer, and they can do their day and what they have to do and everything like that. And I'm like, I actually need that physical thing that I can look at and check off, and so that I know that they've done it. And I feel like for them it's using like more than one thing to have to sit there and go, like they can type it out, but I feel like when they actually have to write it out, I think they remember stuff better.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
So I'll be printing out like daily sheets that have like the subject on one side and the day on the other side, and then they'll just fill in like what subjects they have to do and what they have to do that day. Because right now we're going to be starting out with Easy Peasy All-in-One Homeschool. And if any of it, now we are not sponsored by them, we are not paid by them or anything like that. We chose that curriculum because we have 4 children and it is expensive.
Yep.
Curriculum is expensive. And when we first started, we thought only rich people can homeschool their kids because we were looking at thousands of dollars. Like at least the lowest, the lowest price that we saw for curriculum for all 4 kids was $2,000.
NZ Mermaid, tell your hubby we said hi. Go have lunch with him. We'll have a great week, everyone. Thanks for the great show. Hey, thank you for being a part of it. It's great because you guys are an awesome community.
Yeah. So that's all right. So Easy Peasy All-in-One Homeschooling is online and it is free. The lady who developed it, if I remember correctly, she was a missionary and she's a teacher. And she was out of the country and she needed, curriculum didn't get to her quickly. So she kind of had to go online, find the stuff that she needs, and she puts it all in one, and then it's all separated by grade. It goes from kindergarten all the way to 8th grade, and then they have Easy Peasy All-in-One High School. So you can do it all the way into high school, and everything is online and everything is free. And there is a learning curve to it when you first start because, especially with me where I had 4 kids in different grades. But the one thing that I liked is there are things like if your kids are close to each other like Katie, Max, and Jack are, their history, science, health, gym, and music are all the same. They're all studying the same thing. And Miles is actually studying the same thing. He's just studying at a lower level because he's, 22 months younger than Jack, where there's only 12 and a half months between Katie and Max and 13 months between Max and Jack. So, his is a little bigger gap. Yep. And so, I had to learn like what a lap book was and how you did them because when we first, I had no clue. And, that's something that, if people want to know what that is, I can show them because that can be confusing sometimes. But just how we put our day together and, once you get in that rhythm, I think it's getting into the rhythm of things.
Absolutely.
Then it flowed better, and it has worked really well for us.
And with great flexibility too, because I throw a mess into her world because what I'll do is I'll say, hey, you know what? Friday is my day off, and so you can't have school. And she looked at me like, no. But Easy Peasy and the way that we homeschool, it creates some flexibility because they're learning at other times too, at night, on Saturdays and Sundays. And so when I have a day off on Friday, we can flex and go and have a DHW.
Dad Wild Hair Day.
DHWD.
Yeah.
Dad Wild Hair Day. And go and be a family together. But when we go on those things, we'll do field trips.
Yeah.
We'll go places like we did with the State Route 52. That was a great, fun time as a family, but it was an education for our kids about the Underground Railroad. And so things like that, I'll throw curveballs at Heather, like come home early or I'll have to work late. And she'll knock 2 days out in one day and, we'll have a extra long weekend. I mean, it's a good thing. So... let's go to the live stream or live feed and read some of the comments. Nice thing about homeschool is that everything counts. Go on vacation, visit a historical site, and field trip. Absolutely.
Well, when I was a kid, I was homeschooled. I'm 40, and that was back when very few people homeschooled. I mean, this was when I was 2nd through 5th grade. My mom homeschooled us. And she decided that we were going to study government and colonial history together. And so we went to Jamestown, Williamsburg, Carter's Grove Plantation. There was some other place that we went. I forget where it was. But the ones that I remember was Jamestown and Williamsburg. Those were really cool. And then with government, we went to Washington, D.C. I mean, and then we would write about what we learned and what was our favorite thing. And it depends on where you are in the country. The homeschooling laws in Ohio are not super, super stringent. I mean, there's certain things that you have to do, like you have to inform the school district that you're in that you intend to homeschool. You have to have a general outline of what your year and what curriculum you're going to use. You know, and then you have to have your kids, you have to make a portfolio of the beginning, middle, and end of every subject for their school year. And like, I took probably about 50 pictures of all of the stuff that my kids did during the year, so you could see the progress, and it had to be evaluated by a certified teacher, which I had a lady do that. And or they can take a standardized test. Well, I have 2 kids who are horrible test takers. They're smart kids, but when it comes to taking a test, that's sitting there and filling in those little bubbles or, you know, whatever, is just mind-numbingly boring. And I was horrible at it. I would sit there and fill in the bubbles and make pictures, and, you know, I was way smarter than what the test actually said I was. But
Amy T says on the live stream, Amy T says, I wish we had a homeschool system like the U.S. We don't really have any good options. I feel so many kids I have will need to go to church school.
So that's private school.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then
Amy, where are you again? I forget. Are you in?
She's in Australia, I think.
Are you Australia or was she England? I forget.
I thought she was Australia,
Okay.
but correct us if we're wrong.
Yeah.
Wow, Heather, a forerunner of homeschooling.
Yeah.
Coco Noel says. Big Screen says, we had a licensed teacher certify the work at the end of the year. High school co-op all around.
We've been a part of a co-op before, and that was good because things like gym and art and things that I wasn't really great at because, like, I'm just not. My kid Max took astronomy and really loved it. There was a creative writing class that Katie took that she really hated, and it was, you know, but she loves to write, and it was actually teaching her the building blocks of writing, where she is more of just a creative writer. She loves to write stories, but it was good for her because she learned like how to develop a plot and how to this and how to that and all that kind of stuff, which was really great for her. She's in Australia. Okay. So,
yep. And Texas doesn't have many homeschool rules, but
Texas,
we knew that because we have some family that's out there.
I have family in Texas. I think that Texas doesn't have hardly any, which is great.
Okay,
but,
so I have a question real quick. Can we do a meetup in Australia and stay at your house, Amy? No big deal. I mean, it's just the 6 of us.
Are we driving there?
Well, part of it will be swimming. I think that would be so much fun. We'll do a meetup in Texas, and I love that phrase too, meetup. Like we're all gonna meet up. We're gonna all meet up in Australia. So NZ Mermaid, you got to come down to wherever we're at because we want to see you too. And then we're gonna go to the UK and catch our friends there. So we've got Australia, Texas, UK,
New Zealand, and Australia.
And then that one guy that watches our videos in Germany.
Well, and there's someone in Japan too.
Yeah, so. There you go. Anyway, here, let me read some of the live stream here. We've got Hoffman Family Homestead says, Mindy's pumpkin soap smells really good too, just saying.
I love
can't wait for that.
Pumpkin spice anything. Like, my daughter is super excited because it's becoming pumpkin spice season, so you can get the pumpkin spice coffee. And like, she's really excited about that.
Big Screen says lots of co-op resources, curriculum, material swap, etc. Ours had a multi-grade class on a Friday at a rented church school place. Yeah, we've been a part of that.
We were a part of that in Maryland, and it was. I mean, the ladies were really nice. It was funny because first they asked me to help. Facilitate home ec. It's not really teaching. We're just kind of the facilitators of the class. And then they had another lady that wanted to do it, and they were like, well, can you help with gym? And I kind of giggled a little bit because, like, I got a C- in gym because I'm just not one that really likes to run and sweat. And, you know, if I'm running, then there's a bear chasing me or something. And I just had to laugh because they were like, can you do gym? And I'm like, do I look like somebody who's ever enjoyed gym class?
Yeah, if you see the Goin Batty clan running, you should be running too because there's a natural disaster. Let's go back to the live stream. Here's some funny stuff that everybody's saying. Noah's Ark says, oh, I can tell you stories about public schools I grew up in. Me too. I was a public school dude, and it was painful. And then Noah's Ark also said, LOL, swimming? More like drowning.
Yeah.
Didgeridoo classes. All right. And then we must have hurt Melody's feelings because she said, "You're not coming to Tennessee." Of course we'll come to Tennessee. We've got all this whole thing planned.
We have to move first.
Listen, this is a done deal.
This is not a done deal.
It's not even
Kevin's
close.
making stuff up as he goes.
And someone wants us to go to Canada. I don't have any trouble doing that. Amy, I'm going to pronounce it wrong.
I've been to Canada
Pebble.
once. I remember going to Canada when I was 5, and what I remember is we went to Kmart in Canada.
You need to do a meetup.
That's all I remember. So.
You need to do a meetup in northern Illinois and southern Wisconsin. And there is a meetup happening in northern Wisconsin. Check out Big Family Homestead and Will over at Weekend Homestead.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind. Trucking Up says, "I've always wanted to drive one of those semi-trains to Australia. Well, here's your chance. Amy T says, "I think Living on a Dime wants to come too, so that would be about 15 people in a 3-bed cottage. My hubby wouldn't cope. He's only a child, so 6 people. He's an only child, so 6 people. Well, listen, we're not going to stay at your house. We'll get our own hotel or whatever you guys have there. We'll stay there because I need my own place. You know what I'm saying?
Here's the thing: is like
I need my own place to be.
If it was all
when
of
I go
us,
to bed.
Like we're neither one are quiet families. I don't think. Like,
Oh no,
you never
we're not.
have a moment of quiet.
You won't be quiet. There will be no quiet. If the Goin Batty clan is coming over, it's going to be loud. I'm just warning you. I'm just saying this all.
And she says, "I'm going to hide in your trunk while you go visit all those places." You don't have to hide in the trunk. We have a minivan.
Yeah.
We're not sure it'll make it all those places because she's kind of old, but.
Michigan 94 runs by my house. I have plans that weekend. She's out. No. Somerset Center near Jackson at Noah. Trucking Up says, "Last time I was in Canada, they tried to take me to jail, so I'll pass on going back. I wouldn't want to go back either."
Don't go there if they're trying to take you to jail.
Wait, and Big Screen says, "Trucking It Up, you too? What happened to Big Screen? And Trucking It Up, we need to hear this story." So
I've always been told that the Canadians are very nice people. Maybe it's the crossing people. Maybe that's the. Were you trying to bring in something illegal?
Amy T says, "Might as well bring Big Family too and make it a party." LOL. Oh mercy! Tried to come back with too much brew. Oh, that'd do it, I guess. That's a bad deal. That's a bad deal. So anyway. I have a real. I know we're.
Can I have some more water?
I know
please?
we're supposed to talk about storage organization. I feel like we've covered that.
I'm done.
I want to talk about my insatiable appetite for traveling to places in the U.S. that I've never been.
I'm quite content staying at home.
I want to go.
He married a homebody.
I did. I'm ready to go. I want to go. When we get our house settled and we get settled in our house, maybe even a year from now, I want to buy a truck and a travel trailer, and on weekends and bank holidays and long week vacations, go out west and see some of the places that I've never seen before. I think that would just be thebomb.com.
I've been as far east as Baltimore. Oh no, Maine. I've been to Maine.
Yep. You've been to Ocean City.
I've been to the furthest out west. I think northwest I've been is Minnesota, and then I've been to Texas. I haven't gone any further out past that. I think my traveling experience when I was a kid was always kind of like, ugh, because my dad was one of those guys where he would want to go from Ohio down to St. Petersburg, Florida, in as little time as possible. And I can't remember. It's something like a 16, 18-hour drive, and he'd want to make it in 12. And it was like, we would stop at McDonald's, and he would like, okay, you guys get out, go to the bathroom. I'm going to go through the drive-thru, and I'm going to get us something to eat, but you can't have anything to drink because I don't want you to have to go to the bathroom again. And, you meet me on this other side and I'll pick you up there. And it's like, because you had to pee fast because you were afraid Dad was going to leave you there.
Yeah.
So
I don't travel like that, and it drives her crazy because she's been trained a different way.
Well, it's funny because I hated it when I was a kid, but now I'm like, I just want to get to where we're going. I don't want to stop. I don't want to look at things. I just want to get to where we're going so I can enjoy, like I can rest, because when I'm on the road, I'm not restful because everyone's out there trying to kill me in their car. So
well, and here's me. This is where we start. This is where we finish. And here's my thought process. Everywhere along the road is somewhere for me to see. Everywhere along the road is for me to stop and look, and it drives Heather absolutely crazy.
I want to go from here to here, and he wants to go.
I want to go. Oh, but we got to see everything. We got to gawk. We got to look around.
He gawks when he drives, which is bad. So.
Man, trucking it up on the live stream. Or no, let's go back. Amy T, traveling is so cool. Have you guys been out of the U.S.?
You have. I haven't.
I have. I've been down.
No, that's not true. I've been to Canada, to Kmart in Canada when I was 5.
Yep.
It's funny because I remember it being pretty.
Yep.
But that's the only thing I remember doing because I was so little. So.
Hi, Leslie B. We're glad to see you. But yeah, I went to 2 places out of the country. Nothing major. I went to
La Paz, Bolivia.
Nogales in
Mexico.
Mexico, just right there on the Arizona border. And then I went to La Paz, Bolivia. And that was quite the adventure.
That one was a big deal. You're saying it's not. He was on the most. You know when they show the Discovery Channel, the most dangerous road in the world? He was on that. And they had...
I think it's called the Las Yungas or something.
Well, he had gone on it, and then when he got to his destination, he called me. He was like, yeah, I was on this really dangerous road, and there was a bus that had slid off the side of the road down, like, into the valley and everything, and all these people had died and stuff. I'm like, I'm 7 months pregnant with our oldest son, and I was like, don't tell me things like this. Are you trying to send me into labor? So...
Yeah, it was interesting. We had been split up into several different cars. I was with a senior high group, and we were traveling down the road, and we were in a Range Rover. These old Range Rovers are all over the place, and we had a guide taking us. And as we were going around a curve, the road goes from 2 lanes, long and luxurious. It goes around a curve to 1 lane, and that curve is like a 1,000-foot drop. Right before we get to that curve, our back wheel, the lug nuts, shear off, and we watch the wheel pass us. It flies right past us, and it stops right there in the middle of the road, and we skid and scrape and slide and stop. Oh my gosh, we got out, and the guy's like, oh, don't worry, it happens all the time. Really? It happens all the time? I'm going to fall off a cliff, and it happens all the time. But it was quite a unique experience, and I'm not an international traveler per se. I do much better when I stay around home base. But I'm telling you, it was an experience of a lifetime. I'll never get another chance to do that again. And it was an incredible opportunity to meet people that are believers in Bolivia who are building churches, and they have a heart for Jesus. And it was just a really cool experience. We built a wall to a church. We put the foundations in. We put cinder block walls up. We played a lot of games with the kids. And then we went down to the Amazon, and we did a little jaunt down the river there. So it was awesome. Anyway, that's kind of my spiel, and I've been on a couple of others that were national mission trips. But again, I think I do better just here in the old U.S.
Well, I think the kind of cool thing about, and like Amy was talking about, her husband's taking her to Italy and stuff.
Oh,
and
nice.
One of the neat things about the United States is that it is so big. I mean, people in in like Europe, some of their countries are smaller than the state of Ohio is. So I can remember my brother, he had, when he was in youth group, they had kids from Scotland come over here. And, they were talking about, they came and, kids stayed at different houses, and they were kind of like, man, you have to drive far to get places. Like, you're driving like 20, 30 minutes to get somewhere, where everything is way more condensed and compacted. You know, when they took him to, they went from like the Cincinnati area to Washington, D.C. to take him to the United States, to see the Capitol. And, you know, all that. And they were like, it's a how many hour drive? You know,
wow.
It's like a 9-hour drive.
Yeah.
And, you know, and it was something new for them because, you know, like I said, everything is so close together. And, you know, when you're in Europe, and it doesn't take you nearly as long to get to another country sometimes.
Absolutely.
So where, you know, it would take you, 3 days to go from, or 4 days from one end of the United States to the other if you drove nonstop. So
yeah, it'd
something
take a
like
while.
that.
Trucking it up, I did not miss your comment. You didn't have the right papers on the load. They tried to fine him $5,000 going in and tore his truck up, searching it coming out. They had him in concrete and had all of his stuff, had him in handcuffs and had all of his stuff out on concrete. Man, that's brutal. That's double tough right there. Who knows has been to Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, and Haiti.
Nice.
And of course, we said Amy's going to Italy.
Yeah.
And
she's going from, Australia? Yeah, she's Australia.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's a big, that's yeah.
Allison Hagen went to Italy twice. I
would think Australia would kind of be like here too. I mean, because there's wide spaces of like a lot of land, and you know, so traveling for you guys is like 20, 30 minutes is not that big of a deal. So
yep. The two trips that would be like the ultimate trips of a lifetime for me, I hope Heather would go with me. One is the one to Australia.
That'd be fun.
And the second one is to Ireland. And just to Ireland or Scotland or even the UK.
Well, because I mean, his
just
family
to see
is
that
from
beautiful country,
from Scottish descent.
Yes.
So like, you know, he comes. Yeah. So, you know, I don't know what my family. There's a lot of Irish, German, whatever in my family. I'm American. That's what I am. That's what I am. I was born here, you know. But I think it would be neat to go to like Scotland and Ireland.
Amy
and stuff
T
like that.
says you drive a lot from state to state. We fly between our states, so flying overseas isn't a big deal. Either because we are either because we are an isolated country. Can I ask a question, Amy T? And forgive my ignorance here because I truly am ignorant. And anybody can testify for that. Australia has states. Are they broken up kind of like the U.S. or is it work differently? If you have time, you could even send us an email or respond in the live chat.
Give Kevin a little geography lesson.
Yeah, give me a little geography lesson, and we'll pass it on to our kids when we do homeschool, because that's one thing I don't think we appreciate about other countries. Is we know we have states, we have counties, we have cities, we have townships. But we don't necessarily know where everything, how everything works in other countries. And so if you happen to get a chance, info.goinbatty@gmail.com is where you can send email.
Or you could just tell us here.
Or you can tell us here. If it's a long explanation, though, email it to us, and we'll talk about it on one of
Books are people too. Visited Ireland, Scotland, England, and ate my way through Italy. Sister, nice. I'm with you. I would totally do that too. Now, when my brother was in Scotland, he did eat haggis, and he told me that was the foulest stuff he had ever had.
Yeah.
But he did like fish and chips, because he was like, I didn't realize, chips over there are like French fries here. So he's like, that was really good. But he did not care for haggis too much.
Yep. I remember a rotary in Rome, so many scooters, it was like a lineup at the motocross race. Organized chaos. Let's see, visited Ireland, Scotland. Oh, yeah, right. Sure. You read that already.
No, Germany. This is a different one.
Okay.
Yeah. I've got some English, Scottish, Irish, German, but mostly Norwegian.
I'll tell you what, I'd love to see Norway too. That looks awesome. That would be awesome. We could see all the places where they filmed The Lord of the Rings.
Haggis, from what my brother described to me, is everything left over shoved into a sheep's intestine. So,
you take it and you shove it in there.
Just a wee sheep's stomach.
It's like a stomach, like the stomach, and it's like the heart and liver and kidneys and whatever's left over. Yeah, and they'll flavor it with onions. He was like, it was awful. He says, I had it boiled and I had it fried. He goes, if I had my choice, if I ever had to eat it again, he goes, I'd eat it fried, not boiled. It was awful.
So a bagpipe with food in it.
Yes.
Yeah, it doesn't sound very appetizing, does it? So anyway, hi Donna Terry, we're glad to see you. Yeah, I think it would be. Those are just some of the places that we dream about going, but the reality is we probably won't get past the Mississippi. We'll try.
We might when we're older.
Older.
Oh boy, yeah, that'll be the key right there.
Yeah.
I want to travel while I can still travel. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But one of the other things too is I think we need to probably take one more jaunt back to Washington D.C. to visit some monuments maybe we didn't go to before.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sweetheart.
Well, no, Coco Noel, she's like, it was the foulest or was it the ballast?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, when we were in Washington, D.C., it was kind of cool. I mean, we were there with my brother and his family, and we've got little kids, and so they would get tired walking around, because that's a lot to see. We went to one of the Smithsonians. We went to the Air and Space one. We went to the Lincoln Memorial. The Washington Monument was closed, so we didn't get to go to that. And we saw the White House and everything. But, I mean, when you've got little kids and a lot of walking, they get real tired real easily. And we made the mistake of riding the subway in. Like, it's okay if you're riding it in and you're one person. But when you're, we're 6 and they're 5. Yeah. That many people
just
going
pay for
into
parking.
Just pay for parking.
It's
it was
$20.
cheaper.
It's all day,
Yeah.
and it's not expensive. Amy T responded. She said, "Happy to be a homeschool link for you. We have states, but not many. When we have, then we have cities, and if we're talking about a section of a state, it's called a region." Is the short version.
Okay.
That's awesome. Great. Thank you very much. That gives me some clarity. I wasn't sure what was happening there. Books Are People Too says, Screen, you have a warped sense of humor. I agree with that. Let's see here. Go to Washington. If there is still there the momentum. Most of our country is a desert, so most people live around the edge.
Okay.
Mr. PETA, eat your protein. Lots of hard work in your future.
Yeah.
Yes. It's not warped, just a little wrinkled. I agree with that fully. All right, trucking it up. I've been to every state in the lower 48, been to Canada and Mexico, but wish I could have spent more time sightseeing.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure that the highways provide you a very unique view on many levels, but there's something to be said. We've been watching Justin Rhodes and his family trucking it across the United States in their bus Mabel. They went to Glacier Park. Now this place looked cool. Some of the others, like some of the other places they've gone have been a little bit just go look and leave. But this place looked fun. It was basically where a glacier came in, carved everything out, and then melted right there, and then you got a lake. And they were showing their family being a part of that. That looks like a fun place to go. And then there's this another channel that I've been watching called Less Junk, More Journey.
That's a cool one.
This is a unique channel, and it's going to sound like the whole living on the road thing is like a homeless thing, but it's not. They are educated and they are professionals. One guy, the husband, does computer engineering and does it on the road, and even a little bit of management of his own business. And then there's a daytime nurse. The wife is a daytime nurse, a traveling nurse, and she does jobs as she goes. And they make maybe $25,000 a year, and they have a daughter. They had this huge mobile home. It was a Class A, the kind you drive, and it has all these slide outs and all this stuff. Well, they traded that in, and they got themselves a diesel van, which I've never heard of, a diesel Chevy van, and they got themselves an Airstream and completely renovated it, including putting solar panels on it. So when they boondock, they can have all the water they need, they can have all the electric they need, they have battery power, and it's all right there for them. And watching their journey and how people react to them living in a trailer is fascinating. So before you think they're the only ones out there doing this, that's not true at all. There are a ton of retired folks that have hit the road. Mm-hmm. But what they don't tell you is there are a ton of people like us in our situation where there's 3, 4, 6, even 9 kids living in mobile homes traveling the United States. And this is just an incredible family of 3 that are going around and they're just doing some amazing things. Trucking It Up says Less Junk, More Journey is a great channel to watch, and they're Christians too. That's right.
Baker Mom was asking if anyone had heard from Hewitt Homestead or Deep South Homestead. I guess the hurricane's heading their way.
Oh, yeah.
I know that Hewitt put up a video today and he didn't say anything about that. It was about his daughter and you know the thing that she was doing, but I haven't heard anything else yet. So
Who knows says Heather, while organizing, I found another crochet book for you.
Oh, well, thank you. I've been looking at the ones that you give me. I'm actually working on a blanket from one of the blanket things that you gave me. I'm not doing it in a baby blanket though. I'm just doing kind of a throw. So, and I'm doing it in one color because I like this color. So
Virginia Gibson, you're going to be living in a van by choice or because you have to? Give us a little bit more so we know how to pray for you. Anybody that is on here that's being affected by that storm, please let us know.
Yeah.
And we'll be praying for you. Oh, she said yes. I think she means yes. She's doing it by choice.
Oh, okay. Okay.
We traveled for a month in an RV, and we are a family of 10.
Wow.
Wow. That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm impressed. I mean, that's a big deal, but I bet you guys had incredible adventures. And one of the things that Less Junk, More Journey, the dad on that said, was that he gets to spend and see these special things with his family, with his daughter, and he's not pulling the 9 to 5. He's living the dream, basically. And so to a degree, I kind of envy that because it is so important for us to be a part of our kids' lives and not be stuck in this rat race. Let's see. I think Melody B meant to say to go see the statues in Washington, D.C. before they're taken down. Yes, that's probably true. I just find it fascinating that these folks have hit the road and they're going around looking at all of these different places and they're living their life. Their home is this beautiful Airstream trailer
that they redid.
They redid it. Yeah. And we have been to the Airstream factory. We've been to the manufacturing facility. It's in Ohio.
It's in Wapakoneta.
Wapa.
Yep. And it's actually kind of neat to see how they do it, and they explain why they do what they do and why they place things where they place things, and it was actually really kind of cool to watch that process happen.
Mm-hmm. Who knows says many people live in a van by choice. I saw a YouTube of a lady Caravan Carolyn, retired cop choosing to live in a van. You know, I've seen similar things, so that does not surprise me. Virginia, are you sub to Lola Lost on Land again or Vicky Van Gogh? Then Maya says we had a blast. Traveled from Louisiana to California, then back home. Wow, wow. That sounds incredible. And then Amy T says my sister and I had less fights when we stayed in the same room on holidays compared to growing up in separate rooms at home. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? Yeah, I think that these folks are paving the way, no pun intended, for how there's a new sect of families that are living their way, not the world's way, and they're making it a dream. And there'll come a time when they will settle down again, but right now, this is what they're doing. So yeah, there you go.
Yep.
That's it. So this is the time of the show where we go. Friday Night Freestyle is almost over. Do you have any questions or comments for us that we can address or that we can answer? And they can be anything from homeschooling to homesteading. We don't know that much about either, but we'll give you our perspective on it. And we also anything else that you might want to ask us questions.
You're right. Living with less seems better. We can speak from experience that stuff doesn't make you happy. More stuff actually can stress you out.
Yes.
And as we have come down from that, we're looking at going, what is actually really important?
Yep.
What is important is that, our children are happy and healthy, and they're fed and they're clothed, and that they know that their mom and dad love them, and the things break, the things they outgrow, all of that kind of stuff is just stuff. And what is important is us as a family and us being together. So yeah.
Cool. North and South traveling in an RV, the United States for 10 months with their 9 kids, a family of 11.
Yeah.
Wow. Incredible. Okay, it is better. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I think Big Family Homestead said it well the other day, being content with where you are at, working on it every day myself. Yeah. More stuff definitely can be stressful. I put something in a safe place and now can't remember where it is. I've done that.
Yeah.
Melissa says, I'm learning that now it could take a while, but keeping up with the Joneses is not important to me anymore.
Yeah.
And that's so important. You cannot play that rat race. You cannot play keeping up with the Jones. Be who you are, and do what you think God's calling you to do.
I feel like for us, it's actually been freeing. It's a lot less stressful, and to go, okay, and it's things that we've had to learn over the 15 years of marriage. Like, we don't need a new car. A used car is fine. If it's even high mileage, but it's good, then it's fine. We don't need brand new everything. We don't, learning that, like I said before one time, like my boys, I don't buy their jeans at brand new. I buy them from, the thrift store, because they blow through jeans so fast, like they blow the knees out of them, because they're boys, and that's what boys do. And
absolutely,
we're all about making the stuff less important. Make the people and their relationships are what matter.
Yes.
Yep.
Amy T says, I'm trying to learn as much as I can while it's just me and my husband, so we can give any children we have the best life, not just things. Trucking It Up says, I've had to downsize myself. I lost the lease on my house, and so I bought a camper to live in when I'm home. I'm never home, so I don't need a big house anyway.
Yeah.
And living with you and your means is important. James, have a great night. Thanks for joining us. We're glad to see you. Thanks for joining us. Amy says, I want to move into a more rural area. Suburbia is too hectic. Yeah. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
And all of that is how we feel as well. And that's part of why we're going to be doing a little bit of time in the urban environment so that we can go out and find our happy homestead. So,
which is becoming like, rural areas are becoming less and less in Ohio.
Guys, I don't have any idea why the chat just got disconnected, but just let's do this. It is close to the end of our time anyway. Let's pray and we'll say goodnight. And if you guys have any comments that you'd like to leave, please just leave them down at the bottom. Don't forget to check out our Facebook page called Goin Batty Thrive Life. And if you are interested in getting involved in Thrive Life, send me an email and we will give you a sample so you can try it. Anybody that's interested. So give me an email.
Oh, Donna Terry said that her husband's been approved for a hospital bed. That's wonderful, Donna. We've been praying for him.
Yep, the chat's back up.
Yeah. Okay.
The chat is back up.
Okay.
All right. Have a great weekend. Let's do this thing where we pray out. And we would love to have you guys pray with us. So don't forget, tomorrow morning's 9 o'clock, not 7 o'clock, because it is Saturday.
Yes.
And we will, we
might
might...
like to sleep in a little bit on Saturday. I actually slept in today. I felt really bad. I wasn't there during the prayer, to write the prayer request down. So,
but we got them, and we're praying for them. And
Yeah.
we're praying for this awesome community that's come around us. Thanks for watching this video. Thanks for sticking with us this entire time. You'll see part of our video. We'll do some more vlogging tomorrow. And then we'll put some more videos out as we get closer to the big move. We're on countdown. I think this is day 7. I'm not sure.
Oh, yes, I did. I wrote down the meals in the jar thing. I'm like,
Meals
somebody
in a
said
jar.
they wanted me to do a video on meals in a jar. I got to write that down.
You know, we're gonna be selling some meals in a jar anyway, so she's got to make them for that. So it'll work out really well.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, we're gonna pray and have get out of here. And gosh, thanks for joining us.
Yes.
All right. Father God, we thank you for all of these awesome people tonight. We pray that you would come into their world in a very real way. Lord, we ask for your blessing. We ask for safety as we have friends on the road right now that are possibly in harm's way sometimes, or just keep them safe and out of the storm, or keep them safe and bring them home safe to where they need to be. Father, I'm just thinking of trucking it up right now. We just lift him up to you, God. And I thank you for all the people on this chat tonight. We thank you for the community of homesteaders that'll let us get out on a Friday night and freestyle and talk about whatever we feel like talking about. And they'll join us, and we just are so grateful. Father, thank you for the provision that you give us. Bless us as we go into this next 7 days and we get ready to move into our own house. It's a big deal. It's a lot of emotion, and it's a lot of things that we've got to accomplish between now and then. Father, we thank you for your love. Go before us, beside us, and behind us. It's in your Son's precious name. Amen.
Amen.
All right, guys. Well, that is tonight's version of Friday Night Freestyle. Don't forget, we have Devos at 9 o'clock in the morning. Then Monday we start at 7 o'clock in the morning. And then Wednesday we'll try to have a live stream, our live stream show. There's a lot going on, so we will do our best. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.
More updates as we go.
More updates as we go.